welcome. We thank you so much for joining us today at the Huddle Up Moms 2020 Roanoke Pregnancy and Postpartum Resource Summit. We're having our doula coffee question and answer session, so all things doula. We're very excited to have you all here today. We have Tara Daystar of Ancient Roots Midwifery and Doula Care, Kimberly Reese, Rhythm of Birth, Erin Nichols, the Lunar Elm, Colleen Smith of the Mighty Mamas Doula Services, and Anna Ree Wetzel-Wucker of Mama Ree's Doula Services. And I know many of you are part of the Roanoke Doula Collective also. And so, yeah, we're excited to get to know you guys a little bit, hear about doulas, what kind of services they provide, what they can do for new mamas during pregnancy and the postpartum period. And so let's just first start with introductions. So Tara, do you want to start with a little introduction of yourself?
Sure. So I'm Tara. I'm a birth and postpartum doula, lactation specialist, and also a childbirth educator, both the traditional as well as hypnobirthing. And I'm also one of the founders, along with several other of these wonderful doulas here, of Roanoke Doula Collective. And we like to work together to raise awareness about what doula care is and connect families as well as care providers with these awesome services, and just provide really inclusive care for families of all races, religions, identities in our Roanoke Valley and Blacksburg, Floyd area.
Awesome. Erin, you want to go next?
Hi, everyone. I'm Erin Nichols. I'm the founder and owner of Lunar Elm Wellness. And most of my work in doula care right now is focused on prenatal support, specifically with yoga and meditation, and just learning how to kind of practice the breathing that you might need during labor beforehand. And I've also, prior to this new world that we're living in, this virtual world, I was apprenticing with Tara Daystar and really looking forward to getting back into doing birth support. And I did some training with DONA, which is a certification agency organization. And so, yeah, just really looking forward to getting back into the birthing room as well. Oh, and I'm a member of the RDC. Thanks.
Colleen, you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Colleen Smith. I am a birth doula and owner of Mighty Mamas Doula Services. I am also part of the Roanoke Doula Collective. I'm one of the co-founders of Roanoke Doula Collective. I serve primarily the Roanoke area, but I do occasionally go out to Christiansburg's Blacksburg area as well. So.
And Anna?
Hi, I'm Anna Wetzel-Rucker, and I am the founder of Mama Ree's Doula Services. I've been a certified doula since 2013, but I was doing doula work and didn't know it had a name before then, since 1990. I'm a hypnobirthing childbirth educator as well. I'm part of Roanoke Doula Collective, and I do serve Roanoke Valley, New River Valley, and sometimes even into Whitfield.
Awesome. And Ginny, as one of our audience members. Is that right? Yeah, okay, great. So we're here today to talk about all things doulas. And so first off, I just wanted to ask, what could you give a definition for those of us who don't know? Can you give a definition of what a doula is and what kind of services they provide?
So I can speak to what a doula is. So a doula is a care provider. We are hired directly by the birther, or the family of the birther, the partner, and we support the birther or the birthing couple in their desires for labor. We provide education prenatally emotional support, preparation. We may teach different comfort measures and breathing techniques that can support optimal pain management, labor. We always help a couple or further in their goals around birth. And during labor, we are advocates, massage therapists, coaches, a listening ear. We may help with the first latch afterwards. We're also a support person for, partners and husbands. We provide a calming presence. And we also, most of us also do some postpartum check-in with that family to make sure and help with that transition in the after birth period.
Yeah. And so, when we think about a doula and we think about kind of the whole birthing process and experience, it does go into that postpartum period, which is often called, right, the fourth trimester. So doulas can be very helpful during that period as well, right? Could you speak to that a little bit? A doula for the postpartum period, what does that look like?
So there are doulas that specialize in postpartum care. And I'll speak a bit and then hand it over to Anna because she also does postpartum work. The postpartum doula, she might come, you might hire her for 3 hours or you might hire her for 3 hours, 3 times a week. She's providing more continuous care to help your family adjust to that new baby. And she might provide specialized care regarding massage or mindfulness or breastfeeding or going back to work and figuring out your pumping schedule and milk saving, things like that. Any doula, whether she's a birth or postpartum doula, is always working towards helping you accomplish your goals around birth, your goals around feeding. It's never about us. It's more of removing obstacles, providing encouragement for you. And that postpartum care can be long-term. It can even be overnight to help you get longer sleep stretches. I'm going to hand over to Anna Reese since she's also a postpartum doula.
Thanks, Tara. You made a perfect comment that it's removing obstacles. When you first have a baby and you get home, it can be exhausting. So I do like to do postpartum care. I do a lot of before COVID, I did a lot of evenings and overnights to help moms that were extremely sleep deprived or exhausted. If they could get just that 2 to 3 hours of sleep, they could relax and nurse better. Also do the light massage, like Tara said. I do hypnosis to help moms relax because there's nothing worse than your baby screaming and crying and you're trying to latch and it's not latching, and then the hormones and getting upset. So if you can get to that relaxed state of mind, the homeostasis, then you can latch better. And I think Tara said for the rest of it, milk storage, anything that needs to be done. I do some light housekeeping. I do it all, except for the babysitting, other children. But that's basically what we do.
And one thing I'll just add on about doula care while we're getting started and kind of defining terms. Doulas are not medical care providers, so sometimes there's some lack of clarity around that. We might have experience or certifications in different modalities like lactation. However, we are not diagnosing. If we are your labor doula, we're not doing cervical exams, but we are helping you find resources, interpret information, and know your options, and provide information from IBLCs, medical care providers, evidence-based birth. We help you get that high quality information, but we're not actually giving you recommendations or telling you what to do medically ever.
And it's really so important, I think, to have that kind of person in your birthing partnership and support system, because a lot of times the information coming in is so medical, is so clinical. I know, for example, when me and my husband were pregnant with our first, he was kind of a bit of averse to the hospital clinical situation, doctors, shots, all that. It's scary, right? So we ended up going with a doula, which was very helpful to kind of ease us into and give us all that excellent information about what's going to happen during this pregnancy, and then be that support person in though we had the baby in the hospital. our doula was able to be there with me and just kind of to keep us calm and provide a safe space when everything was getting kind of out of control. And so could you guys speak to that a little bit about kind of emotion, anxiety, all of the kind of emotional elements that are part of pregnancy and the birthing process, and how the doula kind of supports the family in that emotional space?
Sure, I can speak to that. So when you're looking at it, I'm glad you brought up about the hospital, because I think a lot of people think, if they do know what a doula is, they think, oh, well, the doula is really just for people who are birthing at home or at a birth center. And really and truly, we can help in any setting. And that piece of emotional, just making sure that the birthing person and their partner, if the partner's involved, are both doing well and emotionally being supported. That's a role that is really, you can have a nurse there who can help with that a little bit. If you've got a really great nurse, maybe they can help with that a lot. You've got a lot of people who are coming in and out of the rooms, especially in the hospital situation. But when you have a doula is there just for you. And their whole purpose and their whole role is to support you in the decisions that you're making, help you feel informed and help you feel confident, as well as taking in the information that you're getting, which sometimes in the hospital setting can be, well, actually really in any birth setting, birth is unpredictable. It's fickle. It can do all kinds of stuff. And so, having someone there who has the experience of maybe witnessing that before, somebody who has had the experience of, oh, I can see that person over there, they're setting up for this and this and this, and let me check with mom to make sure that she's okay with us going down that road. Hey mom, do you know what's going on right now? And let me take a second to talk to you. And same thing with a partner. Hey, partner, have you sat down in the last, hour? Have you taken a drink? Have you gone to the bathroom? Have you eaten anything? And those sorts of things, because our role is to make sure that we're holding that space, and that's kind of a doula-y term. but really what it means is to, to kind of, I think of it as like a circle. And kind of like that, we're bringing people into this circle, and that's a safe space. And we want to make sure that anything that's coming in there, if it's information, if it's new people, if it's new birth situation, whatever's happening with labor, that it's explained and it's understood, and that people have information and confidence in that information that's coming in. So I think that's a really unique role that doulas have in being there for specifically that. Where others might be able to do that a little bit, but they have other roles that they have to cover as well that are, very important to cover.
Yeah, I think that's so true. And I think in terms of considering holding space, I think it's also creating space for communication. So when someone comes in, sometimes they're coming in the middle of someone's contraction, for example, and giving them very important information that they need to make a decision about. And that can sometimes kind of intensify that feeling like, I need to make this decision right now. And so what a doula can do is sit in that space and with unbiased ears, hear what is coming in, and then be able to help the birthing person move through their contraction or whatever emotional things are coming up with the information that they're hearing, and then say, let's take a breath. Did you understand what the doctor was saying to you? Do you have any questions? And just really kind of creating more room between the information coming in and the decision being made, because things, like Colleen said, can change pretty quickly, but in most cases, those decisions are not necessarily emergencies, so they don't need to be made in a rush. You can have a little bit of time between hearing that information and making a decision about it.
Yeah, that's so kind of, interesting. I'm a neuroscientist. So from kind of that neural perspective, from that brain perspective, we know that when we're in that state of heightened anxiety, some of those prefrontal cortex kind of areas, and I know we had talked about this before, some of us, but those prefrontal cortex areas are offline a bit. So to have somebody there that's logical, that has the information, that's not in a hyper aroused state, is so important. And sometimes dad or partner, right, the other partner can be in that same space. We know kind of we share emotions, and that happens at the brain level. So to have a third party there that can just be that support person, have the prefrontal cortex online, be totally in tune with the whole experience, and go forth. That's fantastic. And I want to ask another question. I know, we had heard maybe from Anna previously when we had been talking before about hypnobirthing. You use that term, and I participated in some hypnobirthing myself. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Does that process look like?
Okay, hypnobirthing is using, it's using hypnosis. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis. It's using that in a deepened state of relaxation through affirmations, education, visualization, and unique breathing techniques. What you tell your mind, your body will do, it's called physiopsychological reaction, or the physiopsychological law. And your body can only do one thing at a time. Like if you're being told two separate things, it's going to choose one and do one. So using the affirmations daily, using the visualizations, using the rainbow relaxation, I started to say tapes, but the digital rainbow relaxation and affirmations will help you get into that space. So when you hear it, you will automatically just relax and let go and let your body do what it needs to do. And a lot of women fall asleep during their rainbow relaxations or some of the other scripts that we do, and they're worried that it won't work, but it works so much better because it goes into your subconscious, and what your subconscious hears, it will react to, and your body does react to. So when it hears the rainbow relaxation or whatever relaxation or whatever the birth companion script they choose to use, because we teach birth companions how to use scripts too, you just automatically go into that deep and relaxed state. There's a science behind birthing. It's, the chemical, the oxytocin, and it reduces the catecholamines, the cortisol, the adrenaline. So it's really interesting. I'm a nerd, so I love the science part behind it too.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's totally right, is that you're kind of utilizing these mind, body, and then movement practices to actually alter the neurochemistry and the neural oscillatory patterns, and to induce relaxation states. So we are going to just actually switch individuals as we're kind of going back and forth. So we're going to have somebody else take over here, but it was great talking to you all. I just read the questions.
Thanks, Julia.
Thanks, Julia.
Hey everybody, I'm Jen Marie Cliff, Director of Communications and Media. What's
Hi.
going on?
Hi, Jen.
All righty. So where were you guys? How do we continue this?
We just got done talking about hypnobirthing, but there was one thing that we had talked about earlier that I thought would be a nice thing to discuss, and that's how doulas can help out partners, if that's something that we could talk about. I know it's something that I feel really passionate about as a doula, because I think it's so important. If you have a partner that's involved in your labor and birth, and you are also wanting a doula, I think a lot of times people go, and I think partners have this fear a little of, oh, the doula is going to step in and take my spot.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't do that. Our role really is to be a booster and a support person for mom, for the birthing person, but also for the partner, and making sure that they feel ready and that they feel confident going into things. I think all the things that we do in advance before labor starts is hugely important with partners, because we want to make them as much of a part of that birth team as they feel comfortable, and as much as we can, because it's their birth too. They're a huge part of it. And I know for me personally, I really enjoy getting that time to work with partners to help them feel more confident, because it can be a really stressful situation for them. I think sometimes we get people who are strong and silent, and that's okay. But there's a lot of things that are going on internally when you see your person going through difficult, maybe the hardest experience they've ever gone through in their life, the most taxing, physical and emotional experience that they might have been going through in their entire life. And having the partner understand that that's okay and that they can do it. And here's how you can help in a real way that's going to actually be effective. I think that that's a huge part, and that's something that is, you can go to birth classes and you can get information there, and you should, right. But doulas in that moment can really help out with that as well, in preparing partners and reminding them of things at labor and birth too, because sometimes it's hard to remember when you're in that moment, what's going on, you're seeing your person, struggling. They're there to say, hey, why don't you go over here and try this? Or, hey, let's see if mom needs this. Those I think are really important parts and important roles that doulas can play in that team.
I mean, that's so good to know, because personally, when I was pregnant with my son 3 years ago, I was one of those moms who didn't do a lot of research, but I was also just kind of going with the flow. I didn't do any classes. I didn't really have any issues up until the point the trimester where he just kept coming early. That was an issue. And I went to the hospital, had a magnesium drip a couple of times, like two on separate occasions. And then when he was actually born, his shoulder was stuck. So things like that, getting education, if I had to do it over again, which I do plan eventually having it, baby number 2, having a doula on board is definitely something I would consider, because I didn't even know. I mean, I'm learning all kinds of things being part of Huddle Up Moms. Like, I didn't know you can have a doula before, obviously during, and even after. I'm like, that's such a good information for moms who especially first time moms who just had no idea that you span throughout the whole phase of pregnancy, and most importantly, I feel like postpartum too. So thank you for providing these services, because I hope it really spreads and gets around, because I know moms really need this.
So I'm just noticing a question in the chat. Do doulas play any role before the actual birthing day? And that is a wonderful question. Thank you so much for asking it. So as we kind of mentioned in the introduction, I work primarily with prenatal and do support birthing people as they're preparing for their birthing day, using yoga and meditation as a way to help them become more in touch with their intuition, their bodies, and the experience that they're having, so that they can kind of flexibly move through the experience throughout the time that they're pregnant and into their labor. And I've also worked in partner support in the prenatal time to increase levels of communication between the birther and their partner, specifically using yoga nidra, which is a sleep meditation, and doing physical support of one another in a partner yoga or asana or posture-based setting. So how they kind of connect with each other, communicate with each other, and move their bodies together to support one another, which can start to, as Julia was talking about, really transition the brain into thinking more communally, and those tools can be utilized in the birthing room as well. And I know that all of the doulas here do some prenatal work as well. So I'll open up the question to others.
So
yeah, I do prenatal as well. Usually do 1 to 3 prenatal visits after the first initial consultation. That's mostly for education and education for the partner, the birther's partner, or the birth companion. There needs to be, I do feel that every birther deserves a doula. You know, they need the education. They need to know what's going on physiologically in their body, emotionally, spiritually, because it is a whole journey. It's a whole body journey. Go ahead, Sarah.
I'll add on to what Erin and Anna have both said. And starting with the education, you might take a hospital class. A lot of them are virtually now. We have a guest here, my son. He's all about the birth stuff. But you know, a doula, many doulas provide a private childbirth education, one-on-one or small group, that can actually focus more on pain management or relaxation during labor, breath technique, hypnobirthing technique. So doulas are a great resource to find more specialized education to meet your goals. Another thing about partners and preparation education, many people do not know that the hospital does not want you there if you're in really early labor. And there's actually this expectation that may not be apparent till your 3rd trimester that you're not supposed to come in when you first have your contractions. Early labor, especially with the first birth, can last, 12 hours easy. And that's before you're even active. And that early labor, ideally, you're actually doing at home. So something I do with my clients, for instance, is I actually teach the birth partner, friend, family member, exactly how to provide pillow support for that birther in early labor, so that the birther feels a little more comfortable, where to put a heating pad, helpful things to say, what signs to look for as far as when to go to the hospital. If you are expecting to just go to the hospital and have your entire experience there, that may not actually be realistic with how hospitals work. So doulas can actually help you anticipate the things you don't know about, and actually making the birth plan, birth preferences is part of that. While you can't plan out how your labor will be, because there's a lot out of our control. Sometimes babies need different things. No matter what you're doing as the birther, you have to be really open to the unexpected. The birth plan or preference is a chance to know what your choices are. Some hospitals only have a couple of rooms with a tub. So maybe you want on your birth plan that you give to the staff when you get to the hospital, you want a room with a tub, because you know it's one of your most effective relaxation techniques, pain relief methods. So it's knowing what those choices are. Some parents actually love having as much quietude during labor, or even in the first hour after birth as possible, because they want to create a relaxing environment. There can be a lot of people in a birth room. Right. So it can also be having those monitors turned down. If you don't like beeping, you might be in labor for days. You might not want the beeping. You might not even know that you don't have to listen to the beeping, that they're still getting the data. So we can add this finesse. We can help turn, if you're birthing at home, we can show you techniques and ways to use your space there. If you're birthing at the hospital, even more so, how do we make the space comforting, familiar, supportive of your most relaxed state? So we're there to do that. And when things go off plan, you might have your preferences. Maybe you don't get the room with the tub. We always can help. How do we most support this couple's, this birther's desires? How can we bring things as close to the desires and needs as possible, and make sure if they're straying from that there's a clear understanding why, there's agreement that needs to happen, and that's happening in a really graceful way and supportive way for the birther.
That's an excellent point. Thank you for bringing that up. We only have a couple more minutes. That's what my Zoom meeting is telling me. So if you guys have any, so about like 3.5 more minutes. So if there's any last minute comments, lines that you want to tell the audience, just to like put it out there, go ahead. You can say it right now.
Okay, I'd like to say, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say,
I wanted to say to be sure, okay. I wanted to say to be sure and check out our pre-recorded videos that's on the Huddle Up Moms Summit website. I think we've done individual, and then we've done a group one. It tells more about us and how we can help you, how we can help the birther and the birthing companion.
Yeah, and just adding on to that, we did discuss in that video, but just so that everyone is fully aware, all of us have different ways of supporting birthing people, specifically financially. So if this is something that you're interested in for your own birth and you're wondering, can I afford this? Then please reach out to any one of us individually, and we'd be happy to talk to you about the various ways that members of the RDC or just us in general provide services so that people can afford them. That's a big goal for us in terms of accessibility.
And awesome, Erin. And one more thing to add, my advice is don't wait till your second. Sometimes moms are like, I had no idea my first, but this time I really want a different experience and I know I need this care. However, your first birth is actually more likely to be your longer one, where your partner might need food breaks, sleeping breaks, bathroom breaks. That first birth also sets the tone for your obstetric future in some ways. And while VBACs happen all the time, they're awesome. I've supported many women. That first birth is sometimes your very best time to invest in a doula and can set you up for future birthing success, and also make what may be a very long labor, 24 hours is absolutely normal and natural, into something that feels much more held, and you might have a lot more energy when your baby actually comes because of that support you had. So don't wait till your second, and if it is your second, great, go for that doula. It's never too late. We love supporting women even on their fifth baby, sixth, seventh baby. We're there for you. But as far as return on investment, that first birth can be critical for some birthers.
Yeah, thank you. Less than a minute, a couple more seconds. Anyone else have any comments? Well, thank you so much, everyone, for coming. We appreciate you. So we have more stuff coming in another hour or so, up until like 1 or 2 o'clock. Everyone be there. We look forward to seeing you. And we want to thank our sponsors, Dr. John Harding and Star Lactation, for sponsoring us. And we look forward to seeing everyone else. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, Huddle Up Moms. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, Huddle Up Moms.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.